All right, guys, it was almost impossible to top what transpired last week in afternoon trivia with 7 rounds, 4 victories by Andy, 3 victories by John, and a lot of drama, a couple of shower trips, and a lot of jawing back and forth. But we almost did it today. Another incredible afternoon trivia get together today. It was a slugfest, and here's what happened. Round 1, and we kicked things off with a rapid fire round, U.S. President's First Names Trivia. And it was Andy 8010, knowing Harry Truman, knowing John Quincy Adams, knowing Zachary Taylor, knowing Bill Clinton to close it out, and knowing Franklin Pierce. Hell of a job, and a perfect game to kick off the afternoon on September the 22nd. A perfecto. That was his 5th consecutive in afternoon trivia. We went with round 2. Round 2 was a debut in all of trivia, not just afternoon trivia. First time ever genre. Songs about autumn. I mentioned this in the announcement video. Should have been ready for it. Guess who was ready for it? And it was Andy 8010 going back to back, winning 5-1. He knew Autumn in New York by Louis Armstrong. He knew See You in September by The Happenings. He knew Leaves That Are Green by Simon and Garfunkel. And he knew Wake Me Up When September Ends by Green Day. I forget the 5th one, but he won 5-1. Round 3. That was Andy's 6th consecutive. Let's go to round 3. Round 3 was actor names. And it was John with a big 5-2 victory, knowing Christopher Reeve and Kerry Russell, among others. Nev Campbell was the closer, born in 1973, from The Craft. All right, let's go to round 4. And it was the second premier debut trivia topic of the day. This one, autumn films. I hinted at this one as well in the afternoon trivia announcement. Who was ready for it? And it was John. This was a good game. John goes back to back, even though Andy got It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, 1966. John knew Sweet November. I think that was really the one that turned the tables, and it knotted things up. Andy 2 wins and John 2 wins. Let's go to round 5. And it would be the 3rd debut genre of the afternoon, all-time college football coaches. This time it was Andy 8010, who knew Steve Spurrier, he knew Nick Saban, among others, and captures the all-time NCAA college football head coaches, the first ever round of it in any trivia, making the score 3 wins to 2 wins. Round 6, or should we call it Game 6. And it was 1985 song titles trivia. This one was a lot of fun, and this one was very close. Things can only get better. Howard Jones, it helps to know that, and John knew it. 1985 song titles trivia, and it was John pulling out the win, 5-3-1, and making it a 3-3 score in games. We went to game 7. We went back to the well on 1985 song titles trivia, folks. And I tell you what, for the 3rd time in just like 6 weeks, we had a 3 games to 3 games tie going into round 7. Remember, back in August, it was Duck pulling it out, winning 4 games to 3 over Andy and winning the big cash prizes. And then just last week, we had a 3-3 tie, and it was Andy beating John 4 games to 3. Well, what would happen on this afternoon? Would it be Andy? Would it be John? I even told the rest of the field who will step up and drive a wedge between these two and spoil and completely knock over the apple cart. Nobody. And even though John knew the Miami Vice theme by Jan Hammer, Andy 8010, well, he knew Part-Time Lover by Stevie Wonder, and he sure as hell knew We Built This City by Starship, and Mickey Thomas on lead vocals. Oh my goodness. For the second straight week, we had Andy 8010 taking down John 4-3, and right now, John is in the locker room like Andy Van Slyke, or sitting out in center field like Andy Van Slyke at the end of the 1992 World Series after the devastating loss to the Braves. The second straight year the Pirates lost 4-3 in the NLCS. That is how John feels right now. Maybe he feels like Bob Walk did after a great season, or Doug Drabeck, or Mike LaValliere. I don't know, but it was a very incredibly hard-fought rounds by both of these players. Another 4-3 pullout by Andy. He got the big cash prizes. Andy picks Find Something at Publix. Very predictable, but it's a great pick because I need to go out that way. But what a day of afternoon trivia. We had a record 3 debut genres in the afternoon. Songs about autumn films, and NCAA football head coaches. A record, unless you go all the way back to the beginning of afternoon trivia. Let's look at the rest of the field. All right, so here's the present and accounted for. We had Andy 8010 with 4 victories. A hell of a job. All right, and then we had DNR Manny, who was in no shower business today, like last week. DPCX was on shower duties today. He did not participate in the game. And then Eagles 52 was in. He might be a candidate for shower duty since he never participates, but he's there. JG53 AOL was quiet today. Mr. Met was not quiet, but he was not as combative as last week. He did pick up 1 technical. The Shawkinator was in. The Shawk trying to get some points. He was shut out today. Bear Scott. Love seeing Bear Scott come in. Second straight week he was in. Great decision. He seemed to be more focused on kind of playing around, messing with Mr. Met. Oh, that's good. Thanks, Bears, for coming in. He was in a good mood after that victory by the Bears yesterday. S. Silver, very limited, but he did show up, so he gets a mention. Road 2, hell of a job just showing up, getting a point in 1995 song titles trivia. And then JHL at came in at the very last minute. There he is. He came in, so he gets a mention. And I'll tell you what, the big story today, well, even though it was a historic day here, unlike last week, we were missing a couple of the heavy hitters that were in last week. One was A. Boulay, the other was Duck Meat. A lot of people were waiting to see what would Duck bring to the table. Duck did not show up today. I usually don't talk about people who don't show up. Those 2 were notable though, but a couple more that were very notable that I called out in the Bear Scott Stadium video today. One is Brett and the other is EMG. Both big, lifetime, long-time, die-hard, hardcore Detroit sports fans, Detroit Lions fans. That is significant because the Lions are playing just in about an hour from now. I said they should have shown up for afternoon trivia today, for the afternoon trivia karma. It is a real thing. For example, we had Bear Scott show up last week for trivia. Bears win. Boulay shows up for afternoon trivia. Colts win. The Cobra shows up for afternoon trivia. The Bills win a few nights later. John has 3 wins last week in afternoon trivia. He's a Browns fan. The Packers fan, Seatown, did not show up. Browns take out the Packers yesterday. Also, a little help, JHL showed up last week, a Browns fan. That certainly didn't hurt. Last week, JG53 AOL shows up. Commanders win big yesterday. Guys, it is full proof. The afternoon trivia karma is huge. Now, some of you might be saying, what about Andy's Falcons? He got 4 wins last week. Granted, but the Captain Panther spirit, I guess, pretty much superseded even Andy's 4 wins. So, got to live with that. All right, guys. EMG, bad decision. Brett, bad decision. Not showing today. Not going to look good tonight. Ravens are going to win big. Put all your chips in the table on the Baltimore Ravens to win big tonight. I'll be calling out EMG tonight if I see him. So, great job everybody else for playing afternoon trivia today. It was an incredible follow-up to last week. As you take a look at the rounds there, a lot of fun. All right, guys, if we don't have one this week, another one this week, then I'll see you for the final afternoon trivia rounds of September, God willing, next September the 29th. All right, boys, enjoy the game tonight. Be safe, be well, eat heartily, and drink responsibly. The Peters is out.